Thank you for the blood. Thank you for the blood. Thank you for the blood.
Hey everyone, I'm Maya Wilson, and this is How to Give It All. So, I really wanted to make this podcast because life be lifing, and I think that we're all out here trying to figure out just how to do all the things. Like, how do we really serve God, love ourselves, and love those around us, and do all of those things well? And I just want to have some real conversations surrounding that. And this gentleman sitting right here next to me, my co host, Mr. What's your name?
Rashad J. Wilson. Don't forget the
Rashad
J.
J. Wilson. Yes. He actually, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to you, honey, because you actually tonight are embodying the very tension behind what this channel is all about, honestly.
Oh, wow.
So if you guys are unaware, which you are, everyone in our house is currently struggling with a little.
Oof.
So we have a not feeling well 2-year-old in the room right across from us. Both of us have a little tickle in our throat, a little in our chest. So if you hear us clearing our throats or any of that, that's what that's for. But you showed up. You showed up for me. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to serve.
Excuse me. All right. So in the first episode or it's not really episode, but the first video that I dropped on my channel, I really just wanted to introduce the thought behind this channel and really like what is this even? And honestly, I don't really know. I'm figuring it out. But one of the things that I introduced in that video was the concept of giving it all, right? And just like what that looks like. By the way, if you didn't watch that video, what are you doing? Go watch the video, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things.
Yes,
all right?
sir.
But in that, I was really just talking about a few different aspects of just what it really looked like to give your all in life, honestly. So we're gonna have a little conversation about that. One of the things, you ready? You ready, Rashad?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay,
I'm here.
okay.
We locked in.
All right. So one of the things that I talked about, it was like kind of one of the first things I said, was that one of the reasons that I wanted to start this channel is because I'm not gonna say lonely. I said lonely in the video, but I mean I have you, I have friends, but just when it comes to really trying to figure out like what it looks like to be a good daughter to Jesus, a good wife, a good mother, a good having good self-care. Oh, sorry, having good self-care, like being a good friend, you know, to those around me, just all those things. Like I don't really have an example, you know? Like my mom, God bless her, like she mothered me very well, you know, but like she was also trying to figure it out. And even the women that I see around me, you know, like they're more or less like trying to figure it out as well. But I see very few women that have like, I'm not gonna say mastered, but found a rhythm in what it looks like to do like all of those things well and at the same time without going crazy.
Oof.
That part is key. Without going crazy.
Come
Without
on.
going crazy. Because we love sanity around here, okay?
Keep your mind.
Keep your mind, please, and your peace. And so what does it look like for you? Like do you feel that same way? Like how does this journey in trying to figure out how to do all the things look for you? Because that's my experience, but what's your experience?
Yeah, I'd say the journey has been stressful because we are human beings created by God, multifaceted human beings, and it's like, you know, what do? You can't, I can't pause being a husband to focus on, you know, just solely my relationship with Jesus. I can't pause being a father. I can't say, Anaya, you know, I need you to take a chill pill for about 3 weeks, a month or so, and daddy's gonna go on a daddy vacation and just take care of mommy or just focus on work. Like you have to do it all at the same time. And so it's definitely been challenging. I think I've taken more L's than dubs, but those L's are lessons, not necessarily losses.
Amen. Amen.
Bars. But yeah, it's challenging. I mean, I constantly, for those that don't have Jesus, you know, perfectly as we go through this journey, you will have Jesus, but without God, it's really, it's a difficult journey. I recognize His grace is sufficient for me, but just walking through that practically day to day, it's been a struggle. I think you've seen it firsthand.
It's okay. We're getting there. So is it lonely for you?
In what context? What do you mean?
Like, I guess I can speak for you when I say like you haven't really had any examples either. So it's just like, I guess the part that I'm saying is lonely is like the journey of figuring it out, because like you don't really have anybody there like teaching you, you know, like we have the Holy Spirit, but other than that, it's just like there's not like a mentor or a discipler or a family member that's just like, yeah, like, you know, this is what you do and this is how you do it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like we kind of get what we can from people that seem to be doing it well online, you know.
Mhm.
And honestly, that's one of the biggest things that had me posing this question, because I'm just like, hold up, wait a minute. We all got the same 24 hours here.
Yeah.
So how am I seeing these content creators and these, you know, public speakers and all of these people where, especially the Christian influencers, like they seem to have like this great relationship with Jesus. You know,
Mhm.
they're speaking to people, discipling people, and giving sermons and doing all of this. But at the same time, they're on marriage podcasts because they have a great marriage as well, and
Mm.
they work with their spouse, and their spouse is singing their praises. But at the same time, they got 4, 5, 6 churn,
Oof.
and all of their kids seem to love Jesus, like John Bevere, Lisa Bevere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people like that. Or even the Perrys, like people like that, where it's just like they have all these children, all of their
Mhm.
children are doing well. They have these businesses, their businesses are flourishing, their marriage is flourishing, their
Right.
relationship with Jesus is flourishing. None of them are fat and unhealthy looking. So it's
Yeah.
just like they all seem to be sane. And it's just like, how?
Yeah, I think a large part that goes into that one is your life is not, at least for a lot of people, your life isn't constantly under a microscope. And so with everything not being on record, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. I mean, you
Yeah.
brought up a good example with John and Lisa Bevere. I mean, they've been married for how long? Probably 30,
Yeah.
maybe 40 years or so. And so they've had 30 to 40 years of figuring it out. And so I
Yeah,
would
that's
hope
true.
that over 30 or 40 years that you look a lot different in many aspects of life than you did 30, 40 years ago.
Ooh, you would hope.
Right. You would hope. Sadly, that's not the case for everybody, but that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that being the case, and then just recognizing, like, you know, it's comparison is a thief of joy.
Yeah.
You know, if you're constantly comparing yourself or your situation to someone else, then you miss not only the opportunities that you have, but you miss the growth that is occurring over, you know, whatever the span of time may be.
Yeah.
And again, I think there's this. I was just listening to this gentleman. I don't even remember who he was, but I think the idea or the concept of balance is one that really is a myth, because, like, in every season, there's going to be something that more or less takes precedence, and there's going to be something that takes a back seat. That
Wait,
doesn't.
you going ahead, you jumping ahead, you jumping
Oh,
ahead.
wow,
My question
okay.
was, is it a lonely road? That's what that
Oh,
was my
sorry, I'm
question.
getting ahead of myself.
Yeah,
My bad.
you're cooking,
But
and I'm gonna let you roast. Okay,
so
just not right now.
is it lonely? It can be lonely, again, because, like, I think it's safe to say most of the people that you and I,
Yeah.
us and you may value, a lot of times it's coming through a screen,
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
And so we're finding our mentors, the people we really look up to and admire. Most of those people are coming via social media. They're coming through YouTube. They're coming from
Yeah.
different, you know, avenues, because we may not have the reach to connect with these people in our own backyard. I do think, though, that highlights opportunity. Who are the people around you that you can utilize or reach out to as a mentor, as, you know, someone who can disciple you? And I
Yeah.
think that takes work that maybe is not as easy to do, because I mean, I can go ahead and click subscribe on Jackie Hill Perry or Preston Perry's YouTube channel, but to go talk to, you know, one of the guys at the church, it takes
Yeah.
me going out of my comfort zone and actually bridging a gap and building a connection. So
Yeah. And I think you brought up a lot of good points. And I like what you said about comparison and all that. I think my thing is, even so, I agree with you. Comparison, you should not do that. But when I look at these people, it's not necessarily a like comparison thing. Not to say that, you know, some people don't do that, but in my mind, it's more inspiration, honestly, because it's just like, it's possible. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Someone's doing it. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it's just like, it kind of stirs something in me. It kind of stirs something in me where I'm just like, okay, I get it's from a screen,
Mhm.
but they're still doing it. You know what I mean? Unless everybody's lying and faking, which is a possibility.
Possibility.
But with the benefit of the doubt that these people are not lying and faking,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I only see a piece of the picture, but the piece of the picture that I see is still a part of the picture. You know what I mean? Like they still are creating this content and these businesses.
Mhm.
They're still doing these conferences and writing these books that are helping people, and, you know, giving these sermons that are edifying the body. They're still doing these things alongside their spouse, and they seem to have, you know, healthy, happy marriages. Their spouses are still posting these things about them, singing their praises. Their children, you know, they post their children. Some of even I think John Bevere has a podcast with one of his sons. Like, their children are healthy and know Jesus and seem to like and respect them. So it's
Right.
like even though we only see a piece of the picture, it's just like, to me, that makes me look at myself like, okay, how are they navigating and stewarding these same 24 hours that we all get in such a way to where they're able to produce fruit in all of those areas.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, that's my goal at the end of the day.
Right.
But when you don't, to your point, when you don't have like an up close example of that, then you're left with just hit and subscribe, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why originally I was just like, it starts to feel kind of lonely because it's just like, all you can do is hit subscribe, because it's like, okay, where do I see this in real life? And that's where the tension comes in on like, is everybody lying to fake it? Like, is this actually possible?
Yeah.
Like, can you actually give it all? And that's the question. And that's kind of like the tension that I was sitting in, to where I'm just like, let's create a channel about it. Like, you know what I mean? Let's figure it out together, because in my mind, it's just like, okay, I don't know them personally, but I know myself. You know what I mean? And so if I can journal my journey from where I am now to, you know, God willing, one day producing fruit in all of the areas like they're doing, or even beyond what they're doing, then it's just like, it's kind of like an experiment. Like, I've proven that it's possible.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely needed. I mean, I'm sure you're not the only person that's seeking out this answer and trying to get understanding as to, man, is this really possible? And so it's gonna be an interesting ride, interesting journey. You know, we are approaching the 30-year mark of life.
What?
Wait, what?
You older than me, sir.
We are approaching the 30-year mark. So
are you giving my age?
My bad, but ain't a secret. You ain't 21 forever. I don't care how often.
I ain't 30 though.
Approaching 30. You know what I'm saying? Hey, 30 is the new 20. You might feel that that's old. I'm a spring chicken forever. You feel me?
And I'm younger than you.
Oh, okay. You're only as old as you feel. So if you feel like you're old, hey, you know.
Yeah, I'm messing with you.
But yeah, I'm excited to walk this journey and figure it out together.
Yeah.
You know, us and you joining us.
Well, one of the other things that I talked about in that video was, actually, it was one of your conference calls or something that you were having, like a meeting, like a Zoom meeting or something, where these two women, they were talking about like just advice that they were giving women around them. And it was specifically tailored to, like, this advice was specifically tailored to women, but this kind of applies to all people, because I mean, we've seen content about this where she basically said that if a person has like 100%, right? Like your battery, and you have like 100%, and you spend basically like 70% of that battery at work, when you get home, you only have 30%.
Oof.
You know what I mean? And so like your family only gets 30% of you.
That's a problem.
Is it? Because some people think that's normal.
It is normal, but normal is also problematic in most cases.
Bars.
Okay. Fire!
So
gotta get an explosion. Just.
I really had an issue with that though, because I'm just like, you know what? This is a very popular video or meme or whatever. It's this old black lady, and she's talking about like, fake it with me too. You ever heard that? You ever heard that thing? So she was talking about, okay, so she's talking to like some man, I don't know if her husband or whatever, and she's just like, fake it with me too. Like, you spend 8 hours at a job where you're smiling at people, having conversations with people, being polite to people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're giving your best self. Like, you're presenting your best self to them. Maybe because you need the money. Like, you know, you're trying to get a promotion, like whatever.
Yep.
You're giving your best self to them. And she was just like, you get home and I don't get none of that. You know what I mean? Like, I get you're tired. I don't even get a fake smile. Like, I don't get none of this effort and none of this energy that you muster up at work when you don't even want to be there. You can't give that at home when hopefully this is where you want to be. And what the lady on your conference call said kind of like directly spoke to that. Oof. Where she was just like, she was kind of explaining like, more or less like, that's why people do that, because they only have 30% left. So when you get home, you just get what you get. And I was just that's like,
that's tough.
That's not right. But I'm like, do I do that? Do you do that? And I had to think for a second, because I'm like, I feel like we all have the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a conscious decision to be like, no, like, I am going to put forth my utmost effort to all of the things that matter to me, not just the things that I feel like doing that with at the moment, you know?
Right.
And so with that being said, like, I want to contrast two different perspectives, like that perspective versus the perspective of someone, man or woman, that feels like, or believes rather is a better word, that they don't have, like, they're not a battery, that if you give 70% at work, like, you only have 30% left. More so than I have the capacity to give 100% in all of these areas without burnout. Like, what do you think are the value? What do you think is the value in both of those perspectives, and which one do you most agree with?
I see the value in the first one, the woman from my job, in being, more or less coming from the perspective of, I'm not about to burn myself out. I'm not about to run myself in the ground to try to, do this and here, this and there. I'm only one human, and in different seasons, the things gonna look different, which is true. But if I have to give, if I got a presentation, and I got to give X, certain percentage here, just understand, I need you to pick up the slack. Where that's all I got. I ain't got nothing else for you.
Yeah.
Ain't no scooty wop. Ain't no scooty whopping. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no.
They don't even know what that means.
That's okay. It's on a need to know basis. But ain't no this, that, and the third. I ain't cooking dinner. You better get you some Chipotle. It is what it is. And so I can see, because what was it? Self-preservation is the first law of whatever. So I can understand where that philosophy or that framework or mindset comes from.
Yeah.
But I also see the value in, no, like, if I owe it to my I have this job. I'm not here to just coast.
Yeah.
They hire me for a specific job, and especially if I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, I'm a disciple of Jesus, then my goal is to add value. My goal is to give it my best, because I represent God first and foremost. So I want to be excellent in all I do. And so, doing that, but I also owe it to my family to be able to love them, to be able to, be present with them. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have to, go jump out of a plane with them and do whatever. But no, they deserve the best of me as well. And, I also have to take care of myself. I have one temple, I have one body. That doesn't necessarily mean that on a particular day, if I've had a really difficult day at work, if I have my gym routine going on, and I typically go, let's say I go in 5 to 6 days a week, that doesn't mean that I have to go every day. It's okay to miss one day. And I think I more so like the second perspective more, because I think it sets a precedence. I think of something that we should all strive for, is to live every area of life well, while also establishing grace. It's not, again, the goal is not to burn yourself out. The goal is not to run yourself dry. But again, every area of life deserves your best.
Yeah, I think that brings us to a really good distinction that I wanted to make, because more than anything in this journey, I think defining what it means and what it looks like to give it all determines whether you believe it's possible or not, and determines like how you go about doing that. And so you just brought up a very good point with like both perspectives kind of have the potential to serve the same result,
Mhm.
but the attitude, the communication, the effort given, the heart posture, the time invested, like all of that is what's different. It doesn't necessarily have to be the result that's different.
Talk about it, like how so?
So for example, like if I have the perspective that like, oh, I only have like so much to give, right? I gave this effort at work. They aggravated me. Like now I'm tired because I didn't want to be there in the first place. When I get home, I'm already disgruntled. I'm already frustrated. I'm already like in the mindset that like I don't have anything else to give, right? And so that's what you're gonna see. Like you said, like I'm not gonna cook. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. And in the other perspective, if in my mind I'm just like, okay, my family still deserves the best of me, right? My family still, because they are should be more of a priority than my job. Like I'm gonna also give them all that I have,
Right.
Also 100%. If you look at all that you have as that 30%, you're gonna act like that. But if you look at all that you have as another 100%, you're gonna act like that. So I could sit there and I could have had a really, really bad day at work, right? And I come home, and because I have a mindset of stewardship, because I have a mindset of like, no, like the Bible verse says, like that one of our people that we like looking at, he always quotes that one Bible verse, like something about like, if it's not worth giving your all, like don't do it, or something like that. How's it go?
You can give him a shout out.
Myron Golden. How that Bible verse go?
Said
I don't
that.
know.
He said that
it's
something that his mom always said. He said, "What is it? Anything worth doing is worth giving your all." I don't know what this is.
It's a Bible verse. Yeah. We're gonna put a pin in that, because I promise you, it's a Bible verse. I have no idea what it says though, but it's like more or less it says that like, if it's not worth giving your all to, you don't need to be doing it at all, basically. And so, with that being said, in that same situation, I could have had a really, really bad day at work. And it's just like, I don't feel like doing anything else. And I'm not gonna do anything else. Because you guys still deserve 100% of me, and because I'm giving it all in all areas, what I'm gonna do from that perspective is I'm gonna call you after I get off of work and I'm gonna say, hey sweetheart, like I had a really rough day at work today and
Oof.
I really don't feel like cooking.
Yeah.
Would you like for me to pick us up some Chipotle?
Oof.
We have, some microwave dinners in the freezer. Do you want me to pop one of those or a couple of those in the oven when I get home?
Hold on a second. We got microwave dinners in the freezer.
No, we don't, but I'm just saying. Like,
Hey, well, I'm just checking.
I'm
Hold
just
on,
saying. Or I could even open up the opportunity for you
Mhm.
to give it all
Mm.
and be like, oh, well, my day was chill at work. I'll cook. You know what I mean?
Oof.
But it's just like when you come at it with an attitude,
Yeah.
why you being stank?
But you know what? So I want to bring into the scripture. So it's Ecclesiastes 9:10, and
Mhm.
it says, "Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might."
There we go.
Come on.
That's what I was talking about.
Shout out, brother Myron Golden.
Ecclesiastes. That's wisdom right there. That's Solomon.
But something that I thought about as you were walking through the different mindsets is, I think, and I recognize not everyone in the world has that second mindset,
Yeah.
but it really sounds like the difference between like Jesus and the world.
Ooh.
Because like, even with that last instance of how, the husband's like, hey, I had a chill day at work. Yeah, I'll cook. It sounds like mutual submission. And so, it's about servanthood. It's about stewardship. It's about seeing the opportunity or, just recognizing the blessing and everything. Like, yeah, okay, boom, I didn't have the best day at work, but still, I recognize I'm here to serve my family. I'm
Yeah.
here to serve. You know what I'm saying? It's not about I have to, I get to.
Yeah, I get
And
to.
so just being able to see the blessing and everything. And so
Yeah.
it's a different mindset. And I would say that it's a mindset that probably most won't outside of knowing Jesus. Because that it's a different breed of person that would sit there and say, yeah, bro, I just been sitting up here preparing this presentation for the last 2 weeks. I just, got finished delivering that, bro. I'm beat, I'm exhausted. And not recognizing that, again, there's grace in that.
Yeah.
No one's obligating you to say, okay, well, now you need to come home and do this. But even despite that, to have the willingness to say, oh no, I still want to serve my
Yeah.
family, or I want to be able to take care of someone else, my husband, because I love him and I'm called to serve him. Like that's a
Yeah.
it sounds like you got to have the spirit of God to be able to do something like that, because that's different.
And maybe so. I feel like so everything is better with Jesus. That's on period.
Facts.
But with that being said, I think like even with everything that you said, people just be making it too complicated, like for no reason. Because yes, I mean they probably got an attitude because they need a little bit more Jesus. Like what's that name? Eric Campbell said. But people make it too complicated in the sense of like I just said, okay, you don't feel like cooking. Who said you had to?
Right.
Like you can go buy something, but you don't have to go home like I ain't cooking tonight.
Or
You need to go get something
Or
yourself.
even communicating,
Yeah.
and saying, hey, love, like I had a really stressful day, and I would love to cook for you, but I'm really not in the mood for it. Either A, would you like for me to get something, or would you mind grabbing us something, or just communicating and allowing me the opportunity to say I will step up and do whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just like you don't say nothing. You come home, open the door. Hey, I ain't cooking tonight. It's like, well, dang,
Okay.
gave my 70%, 30%, and not to say that that's the heart posture that
Yeah.
people that have that mindset necessarily have,
Mhm.
but you probably have it more likely than not.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? Like all of the examples that we're using are more or less about women, but I honestly see this more in men than women.
Ooh.
And I think the reason why is because at least wives, like maybe most women are like this, but at least wives, like
Mhm.
most women don't become wives without, and actually, I don't know that statistic. I would hope most women don't become wives without the mindset of like wanting to care for her home. You know what I mean? Like wanting to care for whether it's her man, her children, herself, like all the things. You know what I mean? Like so.
Oh no, bro.
we
These
go,
days,
yeah. That's
these days,
the story.
I'm gonna get
But-
married so you can take care of me.
Hey, flew me out. Anyway, when you have that mindset already, I think it's a little bit easier. And I also think that like most men that I have met have to work a little bit harder to get to a place where they realize like, oh wait, like it's not just about going to work and working hard and paying the bills. Like something is actually expected of me outside of that.
Oof.
You know what I mean?
Oof.
And that same podcast, it was Pam that was talking about finding rhythms instead of balance.
Okay.
He made the point like your job isn't done until like the
Oof.
last kid goes to sleep,
That's
right?
what it was. Pam. Shout out to Pam.
And
Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell. of 2819 Church in Atlanta.
Yeah, and he was talking about, he was just like, he had to learn that lesson
Yeah.
because at one point in his life, he had that first mindset. He
What
was
you
just
mean, bro?
like,
I don't, in true Pam fashion, I don't went to work, B. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Went to work and had to deal with these people and deal with these kids. Probably back when he was a teacher.
oh my
deal with these
gosh.
kids and had to do disciplinary action. And then you want me to come home, you want me to do this, that, and the third with the kids? Like, what you mean, B?
Yeah. But like you said, it's not just the woman being like, oh, you know, like, I want to serve my husband, I want to, you know, serve my family, all of that. Like, it takes a man leading in that
Yeah.
and being like, no, like, these are my children too. This is my home too.
Oof.
And I have that responsibility as well, which we don't get to. We don't get to all of that. So we get off track.
Ooh.
Point is, in giving it all.
I was about to jump in.
Oh Lord, okay, let me hear you. Let me hear you.
No.
Just give him a little snippet. Just give him a little snippet.
It's okay. Because we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, you're right. How I wanted to end was in this whole context of giving it all. What do you think the most important thing is for someone to keep in mind as far as stewarding well? Because that's really what this whole conversation is about.
Mhm.
Like, that's what this whole channel is about. Like, us learning how to steward all the facets of life in a way where, as I said earlier, good fruit and abundant fruit are being produced in all of the areas that we are being intentional in producing fruit in. And we're not letting any one priority area fall by the wayside just because we don't feel like it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, really becoming the people and figuring out the systems and processes to where that doesn't, like, we're intentional about that. Yeah. So what do you think the most important thing is for someone to keep in mind in that journey?
Yeah. I would say first, it's awareness and understanding of why you're setting out to do what you're doing. Because, you know, a part of it could be and have the potential to be selfish ambition or just ambition and striving. And so, you know, we live in a very grind centric culture.
Yeah.
And, you know, just trying to have growth for growth's sakes, but just, again, understanding why it is that you're setting out and truly identifying, like, again, what's the why? Like, am I just trying to do this just to say I can do it? Just to say, yeah, I'm successful on my job, and yeah, I got this kind of body, and yeah, I take care of like just for the sake of boasting? Or is it truly because you recognize, like, what you've been given, and you recognize, like, I'm called to steward this and steward it well. So at first I'd say awareness, and then from there, understanding the weight of what that really looks like. Like,
Yeah.
This is not anything that's easy. As people, we're all on this journey, and no matter how successful the people that we admire and look up to and respect, they haven't made it. They would probably say, you know, the opposite of what we're saying, and you know, highlighting them and celebrating, you know, their point in their journey. But no one has it figured out. So recognizing, again, that even as you're navigating your journey, you'll never have it figured out. You'll never come to an end until the end. And so giving yourself grace, being patient with yourself. Again, you know, life tomorrow isn't promised, and life is nothing but a vapor, but just being patient with yourself along the journey, because, you know, you can get really burnt out really quickly trying to live like you're supposed to go from A to Z in a week, and that's not realistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that last part that you said especially is the main reason for this channel, because it's not a snapshot. It's not like, take this, you know, pill and you wake up and you know how to do all the things. It's really walking through the journey and doing that in a way where the people that are going along this journey with us are picking up like the best practices. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, that's probably how I should go about that when I get to this place, or I probably shouldn't do that now that I'm at this place. You know what I mean? Like, they can see us figuring it out as they try to figure it out, or they can see us figuring it out when they get to the point where they're trying to figure it out.
But I'll be honest though,
what?
I got one more.
What? Okay, what's up?
Really, again, I kind of mentioned it, but recognizing the weight of what doing that means. Like, this is not an easy feat, and you know, I think people they like it conceptually, like they like the idea of it, like, yeah, you know, I want to have, you know, be good in my finances. I don't know, like I use that voice. I want to be good in my finances, and you know, I want to be healthy. You know what I'm saying? I want to have a, you know, thriving relationship with Jesus. I want my marriage to be on fleek, as they used to say. You know, I want to, that on fleek. That's tough. Yeah, that's throwback. But y'all rocking with me. You know what I'm saying? We probably in that same age range, so you already know where I'm at. But again, that is a weighty thing. Like
Yeah.
that is not easy. So, Jesus said, someone they put their hands to the plow, or that's probably not. But they said a wise man more or less counts
Counts
the
the cost, yeah.
cost before he, sets out to build. Cause you're gonna be looking real crazy. You're gonna set out to build this building, and then you ain't got realize, oh, it's gonna take a little bit more money than I thought to finish this
Yeah.
project, and it ain't done. So yeah, really consider what all doing that is going to take, because it's gonna take a lot.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a lot of commitment, a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of diligence. But we're capable. 'Cause that's
Yeah.
what God made us to be.
Yeah, we're made to do hard things. So continue rocking with us. We are going to be just navigating all of the different aspects of giving it all to Jesus, giving it all to each other, giving it all to our children, giving it all to our jobs and businesses that we're trying to build, giving it all to ourselves.
Yes, sir.
With that self-care and what did you say at the beginning? Self-preservation, something like that.
Yeah, that part.
But yeah, we're just gonna be exploring what all of those things look like. So
So keep it locked.
catch us next time.
Yes, sir.